Welcome to Matters to You and Matters to Me, bringing you all the current news, far and near to you, and everything that you need to keep those dear and close to you safe. All the changes in the world, local, foreign, domestic, you name it, we're going to try to cover the best ones, the top ones. So grow with us, build with us, and stay informed. And here we go.
If you have it, could you bring it up, Howard? This is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard. So, if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So, 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough, great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades, and it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China and charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs. And they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand. And the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe, but they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. Trade is not fair. And he said, I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man, but he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but frankly, there were many years left in the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something. If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia.
Yes, so as you can see that list, if you can zoom in, you can see like the difference in what they're charging America and compared to what what was in place prior to all of these changes. So yeah, it's gonna be bumpy, but if you take your time when the changes start taking effect, you will see a big change, but you can't tell nobody nothing without explaining to them. So here's somebody that's gonna give you an idea what kind of formula they use to come up with these numbers.
Thanks, Ed.
During his Rose Garden ceremony on Wednesday, Trump was brandishing these three panels of lists of countries, 59 countries, all with what the administration has determined is the tariff that they impose on U.S. goods coming into their country and the effective tariff that the U.S. will impose in kind. The thing is, this formula, in fact, just turns out to be a simple set of arithmetic based on a country's trade surplus with the United States, good trade surplus with the United States, divided by the value of its exports into the United States. So, for instance, South Korea, which has a free trade agreement with the United States, the trade surplus that South Korea runs, divided by the exports sold in the United States, delivers a 50% tariff, and South Korea, as a result, gets hit with a 25% tariff on all of its goods now coming into the United States.
But now we're going to charge.
No other country has ever undertaken an exercise like this, and certainly not in such a simplistic form. And this formula appears to be delivering the harshest outcomes for the poorest countries. Madagascar does all of fewer than $800 million of trade with the United States in a year. Most of it around commodities like vanilla and some minerals and maybe some apparel, is now finding itself hit with an enormous tariff because of this formula. It's extraordinary. We had, the list included a few places, a couple of islands off the coast of Australia where no humans live. It's kind of extraordinary that they got on the list, and the White House has not yet explained why they are there.
So I guess he's trying to say because of the how simple the formula is, kind of throws him off because it has to be complicated, so complicated that the average person can't understand. So I get where he's going with it, but simple does mean transparency, I would imagine. So you can see right through it. I'm not trying to give you complicated math, anything hard for you to do. Just look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. So here's what the people have to say about, they're giving you their opinion, their feelings on what the tariffs are gonna do and how they plan on handling and stuff like that. But there's the opinions of some people, so at least we'll see where the crowd is going, because the people speaks, the people control everything. If they ever believe that, but let's get into it.
I'm Matt Chesney in Lake Park. From West Palm Beach to Stewart, I found a lot of differing opinions on these tariffs, what they might do to the economy, and what they might do to the prices we pay.
It is what it is. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And it's happening. The president's tariff plan now in high gear and shaking things up by imposing large tariffs or taxes on foreign companies.
I think that they need to be addressed. It's been a long time. We're out of whack with the rest of the world. They've taken advantage of us.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty radical move. I have a personal friend who's a Toyota dealer, so he's obviously not happy about it. We just only hope that maybe it's just a negotiation tactic.
Foreign cars are among the items expected to be hit hard with higher prices, along with other things like clothing. I met Giancarlo Triulzi, who says he owns 2 gelato shops that do rely on foreign products.
Again, I don't know to a certain sense because, you see tariffs go up, but then you see some businesses get exempt here and there. To the moment, we have seen no prices change. This might change, obviously.
Prices are on most minds, and most seem to agree they will go up.
With any change, there's going to be an interruption with the way things had been. I believe that once everything kind of settles down, I think it's going to be a really good thing.
It's clearly going to make things a lot more expensive for people and for businesses in general. It's going to obviously offset the cost to consumers.
Well, at least they get the point that they understand that they get to a point to understand that things change, and with change comes discomfort. As long as you're ready for a little discomfort, you can weather the storm. When the sun starts shining, everything gonna be all right, and you could appreciate where you came from. So we'll see. I strongly believe it's gonna change things because the fact is, there's no country that's gonna allow anybody to take advantage of them. So, for whatever reason, America was letting all these countries take advantage of them. It's beyond me, but at one point, something's got to give. So I guess it's gonna give now. Now probably the best time to do it because so much been happening. I mean, we might as well just take on whatever challenge comes to us. So, in other news, there's been a lot of earthquakes going on in the planet. A bunch of changes is happening. Besides Myanmar, they're expecting um they're expecting a few changes, earthquakes, if anything, to happen in certain areas. So, this video is going to give you a little more into it, but let's watch and see. This is Mr.
There's a situation brewing here in the Central Plains that the mainstream media is not talking about, but they are talking about the possibility of somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 13 inches of rain falling in places in southeastern Missouri, northeastern Arkansas, western Tennessee, southern Illinois, even over into southern Indianapolis, and all across northern Kentucky. What's not being talked about is potentially bigger than the flooding itself. Yes, there's probably going to be flooding in this area. You can see a large swath of dark burgundy over here at ventusky.com. That represents many inches of rainfall over the next 48 hours. In some cases, 13, 12 inches of rain in the Memphis area, Nashville area, Arkansas, parts of southern Illinois. But look at how this aligns with the New Madrid fault zone. See the anticipated rainfall locations over here on the left? It lines up perfectly with the New Madrid fault zone. And there's not only one fault zone in this area, there's three. The New Madrid being the most well known, and in that area of the heavy concentrations of rain, there's going to be a ton, literally tons of water weight. That's what nobody's talking about. And see these burgundy ovals? Those are fault zones in the area where all this rain's coming down right now as I do this video. In fact, I overlaid the fault zones over the map showing the heaviest concentrations of rain, and the Tennessee fault zone is just outside of the band of the very heaviest rainfall totals. The New Madrid and the Wabash fault zone are right in the middle. Let me show you the Wabash fault zone down here in southeastern Illinois, right there. That's where there's going to be possibly 10 inches of rain. The New Madrid fault zone could see 12 to 13 inches of rain. The East Tennessee seismic zone, they're not going to see a whole lot of rain, but nevertheless, that's a fault zone that's in this region. Coming over here to the USGS map, you can see there's been earthquakes in that fault zone in the last 30 days. That's the East Tennessee fault zone. You can see there's been at least 6 earthquakes in that area in the last 30 days. There's the New Madrid, and right up here is the Wabash Valley fault zone. That's been pretty quiet, but that earthquake right there is within the last 7 days. And you can see there's been earthquake activity within the last 30 days down here in the New Madrid fault zone area. But there hasn't been a large earthquake in 214 years. The largest earthquake to ever occur in the New Madrid fault zone was back in 1811. It was somewhere between a 7.2 and an 8.2. They don't know the exact magnitude because the instrumentation and the technology wasn't available 214 years ago. But over the next 4 days, there's going to be a huge accumulation of water weight directly on top of the New Madrid fault zone. And I put together 2 maps showing side-by-side comparisons. Here's the New Madrid fault zone on the right. Here's the heaviest rainfall totals on the left. I have another one right here, the New Madrid fault. Then there's the anticipated heaviest rainfall totals, 13.5 inches, right above the New Madrid fault zone. That is a lot of water weight, guys. And just on the outside of the heaviest bands of rainfall is the East Tennessee seismic zone. So it's not going to have any excess weight on it. The New Madrid and the Wabash are going to have a lot of excess weight on it, so it could create an imbalance and it could trigger earthquakes. I'm not saying that it's going to, but there's always that possibility because that's a lot of water that's coming to that area, and that much water is very, very heavy. And there was an event that occurred back in 1811 happened following the very large earthquake. It was the Mississippi River flood of 1811, actually caused by the New Madrid earthquakes. There were multiple earthquakes that went on for several weeks following the initial very large earthquake that rang church bells on the East Coast. And then there was a 7.4 aftershock. The large earthquakes caused widespread landscape changes, temporary reversal of the river's flow, and the creation of Reelfoot Lake. The flooding actually created a new lake following the very large earthquake. So there hasn't been a large earthquake here in over 200 years, and hopefully there won't be one anytime soon. I'm just saying that the stage is being set up for the possibility of earthquake activity in this area, considering we have 2 fault zones right here in the path of the heaviest rainfall totals. Here's a map of the earthquakes in the Missouri, Illinois, Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Kentucky area. The majority of the earthquakes, since records have been kept, right there on the New Madrid fault zone, where there's going to be a huge influx of weight here over the next 48 to 96 hours. So yes, there's going to be nearly 50 million people in the path of this very heavy rainfall that could create flash flooding over the next 2 to 3 days over a widespread area, filling the Mississippi River up. And it's not just the localized areas that could see the flash flooding. It's downriver. Most of this water is going to end up in either the Ohio River or the Mississippi River. Downstream could see flooding as well. But there's the 3 fault zones, 2 right in the middle of the very heavy anticipated rainfall totals, nearly 13 inches of rain right above the New Madrid fault zone. Here's what...
Yeah, so what he's talking about is basically this happened before. And what the mainstream media is not telling you, which is what he's saying, that's the description of his video, is that this happened before. And for some reason, the mainstream media is quiet about it, not pointing none of this stuff out. So even if the people in the area the people in the area are probably familiar with the situation anyway, so they're probably getting ready. But you think they can go ahead and take another hit like they took North Carolina or stuff like that? So we'll see. I hope FEMA ready for whatever's coming, man. So no excuses this time. But yeah, moving forward to one of the biggest questions in the week of the week. You know, everybody's about Elon, and Doge. Is he leaving? Is he leaving? Well, we'll try to answer that question for you right now.
You already know the benefits of Beats. Now, discover why Heartbeats is the better choice. Our carefully crafted formula.
So the White House is denying a report that President Trump is telling his inner circle that Elon Musk will be stepping back in the next few weeks. Musk is technically limited to a 130-day term because he is classified as a special government employee, and that would be coming up over the next couple of months. But Politico came out with a report earlier today that he may stay on as a, quote, informal advisor. That may be a distinction without too much of a difference if he wants to continue this Doge work and the president wants him to. The White House is posting this, quote, "This scoop is garbage. Elon Musk and President Trump have publicly stated that Elon will depart from public service as a special government employee when his incredible work at Doge is complete," says Caroline Leavitt, press secretary at the White House. Now, Tesla stock has jumped 5% today, even after that response from the White House. Brian Kilmeade is here, Fox and Friends co-host and host of One Nation on Fox News Channel and the Brian Kilmeade Show on Fox Radio. Brian, good to see you.
Great to see you.
You know, your reaction to this about Elon Musk. The president has stood by him. Here, let's just play the soundbite real quickly. This is from Monday. President Trump.
Elon Musk's special government tenure is coming to an end, 130 days, I think another month. Yeah. Do you want him to stay longer, or is it time for him to go back to running his companies in Europe?
Well, I think he's amazing, but I also think he's got a big company to run, and so at some point he's going to be going back. He wants to.
Would you want to keep him around?
But, I'd keep him as long as I could keep him.
What's your read on this?
My read is a couple of things. How wrong everyone's been. And Martha, I think we must have talked about this on radio a lot. How they said, these two guys used to being in charge, they're going to implode. Everything with Elon implodes. He's had problems with the PayPal guys. He had problems before with the people he bought Twitter from. And it's been just the opposite. They get along. They have mutual respect. They appreciate each other's intellect and attributes. And you had Steve Bannon come out in February and say there's no way these guys can actually coexist. He's an oligarch that needs to be expunged from the Trump world. And it turns out they excel together. They appreciate each other. And what he's doing at Doge and what he told Brett, yeah, my time's going to be done soon. Absolutely. And I got a bunch of companies to run. By the way, you might have noticed it because you stepped out to save the astronauts and he stepped back in. Then he notices they're attacking his electric vehicle nonstop. So that became part of the story. But Martha, what's so amazing is while they're attacking his dealerships and the charging stations and the individual owners, he goes, handles that, addresses that, at the same time goes back to Doge. At the same time, sees a problem in Wisconsin, thinks it's going to help the Republicans to win there. He goes all in there. Now, technically, there might be some people with communications and people in that division that might say, hey, Elon, we want to step back here, move forward here. But I just went back and forth with the White House before I came up, and they said it's absolutely not true. It's the same thing. In about 130 days, he'll probably see less of him. What I sense is we're going to see more of the people that Brett interviewed on Thursday and Friday. These Doge leaders, these business leaders, apolitical, that are going to talk in detail about Social Security, about Medicare, about what it's going to need to get everything, get these computers into the year 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so interesting to watch people be shocked by the things that President Trump said the whole time he was going to do. And Musk said he was going to try to cut $2 trillion from spending. And he said that when he talked to Brett, it looks like we're on target to do that. And as you say,
$4 billion a day.
Yeah, and $4 billion a day. And basically they made it sound like, you know, it's really not that hard. It's pretty easy once you get at it. But obviously, Democrats are not happy about this. So they're trying to disparage him at every turn, really. Watch this from Hakeem Jeffries.
Elon Musk is completely and totally on the run. This guy is one of the most unpopular figures in the country because Donald Trump has unleashed him. Republicans are going to try to distance themselves now from Elon Musk. It's not going to work. It's too late. You're attached at the hip, and you're going to feel the consequences of it, just like you did in Wisconsin last night.
It's interesting, like, you know, they're so horrified by cutting waste. I mean, it's like this guy is totally out of control. Elon Musk's performance rate, job approval rating is at 58% disapprove.
Right.
So there are some people who are uncomfortable about what he's doing. But, you know, Jeffries makes his point there. And what do you think?
A couple of things. Do you know what came out on Tuesday this week? We got this little note. Neuralink is a few months from putting a chip into the brain to bring vision to the blind, right? He continues to push forward on Starlink. I think he's had about four rockets go up since he saved the astronauts. At the same time, he's going out of his way to investigate who the general is, who's putting out the infantry to blow up his vehicles, at the same time going back and forth to Wisconsin. They are scared of what Elon Musk did. They're upset that he was once on their side. He's not on their side now. And what he does is 100 miles an hour in everything he does, whether it's buying X or whether it's putting a rocket in the sky. And then all of a sudden he realizes if they lose the House, it's going to be terrible for the country, not for Trump. In his view, the country. So therefore, he goes all in.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a non-story. They say Lutnick is out. They told us Waltz was out. They told us that he was unhappy with Vice President Vance. All this stuff has proven not to be true.
I mean, I think, you know, there's a ton of strong personalities in this administration, as there was last time. And last time we had the same thing. All these stories about this team battling that team. But really, the bottom line is that President Trump is 100% in charge. He takes the input. He listens to what people are saying. And then, you know, he's going to get out there. We're going to see him at 4 o'clock and tell us what he plans to do next.
Reconfiguring world trade. Besides that, not much on his agenda.
I mean, as you point out, the accomplishments of Elon Musk have been extraordinary. And Neuralink has always fascinated me. If they can put a chip in someone and give their sight back and put rockets, you know, on the moon and bring them back down again, I think that, you know, I mean, a healthy skepticism is fine on anyone's part, but you got to be, you have to give him an extraordinary amount of credit that he wanted to hop out of all that and just try to cut spending like he does at his companies. So.
And bring some of the best people in the world along with him to work for free.
Yeah, none of these 26-year-old kids that we were told were on that team. They were pretty interesting. We're going to play some of the sound bites from that interview because it was quite interesting. Brian, thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Great to see you.
I'll see you soon.
Hey, Sean.
So, what is the big deal with cutting waste? That's what I don't understand. Like, why is everybody in such an uproar? You're cutting waste. No matter how you look at it, you live in a country where money is being wasted and they're collecting the money from you. So if somebody finally comes around and says, listen, I need to cut some of this waste. If I can give some of this money back to these people, even if they don't do that, at least stop taxing us on everything else. If y'all can bring more money from somewhere else, do it. Why wouldn't you be happy? Like he's trying to get money from somewhere else versus from your pockets. I don't understand what the whole what the pushback is about. But anyway, that's all for today. Matters to you, matters to me. I'm Ro. That's it. That's for today, and we're gonna go out tomorrow. More news tomorrow. Every day we try and do this, so please like, subscribe. You understand me? So that way we can grow this channel, man, and create more and more content. So that's what we're here to do, and I hope you guys are continue on this journey with me. And thank you again.